Hi, I'm Dr. Anjali Chhabria. I'm a psychiatrist, founder of Mind Temple, and I've been practicing for over 30 years. I've also authored a book called Death is Not the Answer. Today I'm going to answer some of your queries, your questions regarding your teenager and how to raise them in today's world, especially where their mental health is concerned. Teens are the most difficult years, difficult for the teenager and also difficult for the parents. So what happens is when your teenager suddenly starts becoming defiant and starts asking you questions instead of answering your questions, it's a shocking time for the parent, but also a time for the parent to understand that yes, maybe your teenager is growing up and needs to be listened to. Many a times we just want our kids to listen to us and not answer back. So maybe it's time for you to change. Try and understand what is the child trying to tell you through his words or through his body language. At that time, please do not get into a battle with the child. Instead, allow him to finish, and at a later time, if you are upset about the way he is talking or she is talking, tell them that you find their tone rude, but also ask them. Many a times teenagers rebel and react to our tone and do not like to be spoken down to, and they think that the parent is just trying to give them instructions and not listening to their point of view. Maybe the first time he or she may not understand, but over time you will see that you have a healthy relationship with your child where both of you are talking and more importantly both of you are listening. Many of the times parents get very upset when a child is lying or not telling the truth. Now when this is happening, one needs to find out why is it happening. So for example, if you've got your teenager with a cigarette, maybe he or she knows that you're going to get very upset and also knows it's wrong and hence is not telling you the truth. Sometimes it could be because what they are learning in the environment. If they are around you, when you pick up the phone and say that, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not at home or something like that, and they know, or even if you tell someone when you're half an hour away, oh, I'll just reach your house in 5 minutes, somewhere they get the message that it is okay to lie. Lying can also be a part of a bigger problem, some emotional disturbance that your teenager may be going through. So one needs to get down to the bottom of lying. Also talk to them about it. Not at that time, it may not be a good idea to confront, but a little later to tell them that, I realized you were lying and why are you lying? Or why are you not telling me the truth? Maybe it's time to also explain to them that your value system entails you that you would like him or her not to tell lies, and also give them the support and the help. Tell them that if you need support, let's work through this. Many a times we just call them a liar and then along with that we say, oh, today you're lying, tomorrow you'll do this, day after you'll do that, and all our fears come on to that. So it's better to take each incident with the importance and correct that and try and get to the bottom of it. So for example, if you're telling small lies, maybe start with not doing that. If you think it's a behavior to be corrected and you're not able to correct it, take the help of a psychologist or a psychiatrist and get to the bottom of it. But continuously support the child and help him or her to get out of his habits. Peer pressure is something that today's teenagers are going through. Also, maybe we went through it, but probably did not get affected by it. I often meet parents who say, oh, I had people, doing all sorts of things. Why did it not affect me and why is it affecting my child? Many of the times we feel that, oh, I need to give my children everything, but forget to give them the most important thing, and that is a good family environment. If the family environment is strong, it's not that the child will not go through peer pressure, but probably not be so affected by it. It's like a tree that will shake but not fall. But if the family environment is either negative or everybody is so preoccupied with themselves, then the child's foundation itself is a little shaky and may get affected more by peer pressure. How we handle it is very, very important. So if you think that your child is getting too much into brands or wants to try out things just because his or her friends are doing it, maybe just listen to what they are saying and understand and talk to them about it. Teach them the importance of becoming a brand yourself rather than following brands. Still you will hear that, oh, but my friends are doing it and his parents don't tell him anything. Sometimes children just start using foul language because they want to belong to a group. Criticizing them, constantly reprimanding them, calling them names, or labeling them and judging them, making a mockery out of them does not help. Okay? Consistently and constantly, correction has to be done with a lot of love. So you have to be firm and yet kind. Often I have parents coming to me and saying, oh, my child doesn't want to do activities and just gives up very easily. Again, many of the times I tell parents, is the child doing too many activities? We all want our little ones to become performers and to be, doing football, cricket, chess, everything. Now, the child has a certain aptitude, and as a parent, you're probably trying to do the best by giving them opportunities. But maybe the child is not interested in that. Sometimes also, we make our children feel like demigods. So whatever they do, we say, oh wow, you all are so great at what you're doing, that when the child actually goes into the field and realizes that he or she is probably not as good as anyone else, they want to give up. The third thing is, sometimes we are also putting too much pressure on the kids. Whatever they do, we want them to perform rather than enjoy it. So sometimes they need to know that it's alright to enjoy something and not just be good at it. So if a child is continuously giving up on things, we need to see whether it is any of these things above. And if you feel that it is not that, then maybe the child's self-esteem is something that needs to be worked with a professional. The child may need a few sessions where he or she will open up and where the therapist will try and find out what is the origin to the problem. So be patient with the child. So for your child to set realistic academic goals, it's important that the parents also understand what are the child's capabilities and what are the things that he or she is good at and what is something that he struggles with. Now, for example, if your child has not been good at math, if you keep on telling him that no, you should get an A star or you should get 90%, somewhere you're deluding yourself, and also the child is probably feeling pressurized because he or she knows that that is maybe too tall a claim. We need to sit with the children, when they are studying, maybe either on a daily basis or a weekly basis or a bi-weekly basis, and just understand what are the subjects that come easily to them and what are the subjects that they are struggling with. If they are struggling with a particular subject and you think that they need external help, no problem, get them some external help. A teacher who understands what their capacities are and someone who does not just overload them with more and more work. Also discuss with the child that everybody does not need to follow only a profession which is going to bring them to the top. Try and find out what the child is good at and keep reminding them of those capabilities. Maybe you can also see, there's a lot on the internet, videos on how people have become successful. If the child, sometimes children have learning disabilities and they feel that they'll never be able to succeed. Help them to understand that everybody has a certain skill. Now what we need to do is find what we are passionate about. So when the skill and the passion develops, you are going to be successful. Again, there's a huge hurry for everyone to be successful before they are 20 years old. Okay, we have our entire lives. So once we are okay with whatever grades they get us, At the same time, we sit with them and help them to get better grades. We also realize that sometimes we've only been taught academic skills till the age of 10, till grade 10 or grade 12. Now there's a lot in life. Maybe a child is good at a sport and he or she has not had an opportunity to play the sport. Or your kid may be very good at cooking. Now obviously they will not even know about these skill sets of them. So what we need to know is every parent knows what the skill set a child has. We need to give them the exposure to that and also assure them that everyone doesn't have to make it before grade 10. We help them to be confident adults. We give them a lot of love, a lot of nurturance, and help them with the skill set. We also need to remind them that everyone is good at something. We just need to help you find out what your skill set is. Many a times I have parents who come with their child, a very serious child, and their parents' complaint is that we are absolutely okay, the child is doing very well, but the child is constantly putting pressure on himself because he or she wants to overachieve and hence is getting anxious. And such kids are so anxious that on the day of the exam they blank out or they don't want to give the exam because they are constantly thinking about what they don't know. Now such children need to be handled a little differently. Of course, they need a lot of reassurance from their parents. They also need to be told that everybody has a limited memory and everyone is going to do their best. Many of these children are looking at other people's successes and putting themselves down. Such children may need a little therapy with a professional just to help them understand that we don't need to be perfect and we don't need to be perfectionists, because perfectionists land up putting a lot of stress on themselves. So we have to help them to also enjoy their life and to relax a bit and to take and not to feel guilty about relaxing. And parents, often I tell parents to lead by example, because this is typical of maybe a professional family where everybody is an overachiever. So the child starts putting unnecessary pressure on himself, and of course there is competition, but at the same time there are also lots and lots of opportunities in today's world which perhaps never existed earlier.